Welcome. The video you're watching won't just be about games that intentionally crash and make you reopen them. I find fake-out humor, while entertaining, can be often unchallenging and easy to cover. Instead, I'll be focusing on fourth wall mechanics and storytelling devices that vaguely fall under the umbrella of self-aware. I'm also not going to use the word once because I consider it a slur. Anyways, let's walk through this video. The out-of-bounds glitch is as certain as the sun rising in our skybox. Name a game and someone's probably broken out of it by now.
Oh! Here's how to prove Link's Earth is flat and jump off the world.
What allows this to happen is any developer oversight that lets players escape the play area. Things like a missing boundary box collision, or any mechanic that overrides the player's position in the world. It's not unlike your cat squeezing its body through a microscopic hole in the fence. There's something so human about the desire to turn a wall into a door and a door into a portal. If a game's cool, it'll actually use this as a feature in some way, rewarding players who escape the play area with some kind of a wink or a nod. For all the examples of it being used as an Easter egg, though, I couldn't find many examples of it being a primary mechanic. This led me to Itch.io, which led me to a tiny game called Hammerspace. It seems to be a development build of a late 90s shooter that was so error-trodden you can't equip the intended weapons. All you can use is a scrapped hammer item with a supposed high-priority bug. Hey, you know what they say, l'appel du vide, or as the French would put it, he's using that wrong. Damn right I'm using this hammer wrong. I'm traversing just outside the level while platforming back into it to access keys and thwack enemies. It also gives them a case of the wiggles. Keys are also reset when you wall walk, so parts of the level have to be completed without glitches. You can go around reading internal feedback on the game, but don't expect too big of a picture. This game was made in a week and is about 5 minutes long. If my hands were on the wheel of making a game like this, I'd probably take a few cues from any percent speedruns.
We have to contain this.
By the way, any percent just means skipping through parts of the game by, well, any means necessary. People treat Doom 2016 like it's a 3D platformer. You climb around the skybox, walk on the ceiling, blast jump your way across gaps. It's like a totally different game is being played. The same could be said of any percent speed run. Metroid Prime's got a crazy one. Portal? Yeah. Sekiro, Morrowind, every video game ever. All I'm saying is when lightning strikes the same spot 100 times, eventually a developer's gonna come along and hold a bottle out to it. Making a game by breaking a game is pretty cool in concept. I'd go more in detail about my theoretical pitch, but I'm no dev and I'm no speedrunner. You could even say I'd be on the outside looking in. We've all come to recognize that iconic Miyamoto quote, "Delay your game, or I'll delay your breathing." So much can happen to complicate a game's development. One big change in its art style or its gameplay and suddenly your release window is kaput. For example, you ever order french fries and find a curly in it? Yeah, that's basically why RE4 took 6 years to make. Even Halo found its start as a real-time strategy game.
Man, this isn't Halo, dude. Stop showing me this old PC game.
Oh, my mistake. Then it became a third-person game.
Isn't this from Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, we don't want to publish this game, dude.
The rest is history, but that's not to say delays are always a good sign. They're even associated with the concept of development hell. One sweeping revision and suddenly months of work get undone. One overambitious feature and now you've cornered yourself with a promise. Also, that Miyamoto quote? He never actually said it. Delayed, rushed, spoiler alert, everything ever made had a show of development. I didn't hit puberty until I was 15. This might all seem like random stuff to be saying, but I promise I'm going somewhere with it. When games shift in direction, tough decisions have to be made. Efficient developers will salvage anything useful from the older game while sacrificing parts that don't serve a new purpose. Sometimes even cool experiences end up removed because they just aren't practical to implement. With BioShock Infinite, early on there were these promises of skyrail obstacles, story factions. You could even step into the reality tears and interact with them.
You'll be in a space and you'll see a skyline that doesn't exist in the Columbia that Booker is in.
But behind the scenes of it all, Irrational Games was shedding developers left and right. Supposedly features were getting the same treatment. Meanwhile, they still hadn't figured out the core game yet. I actually liked BioShock Infinite, but one could imagine the stress of working on it when the 4 games of content you made all get canned at the finish line. You may be wondering, what does any of this have to do with the video title? Well, imagine everything I just explained to you about development hell, delays, and BioShock Infinite was the premise of a video game. A creator with no core game idea, a team being slowly decimated with time, and most telling of all, a graveyard of features dropped late in development. As a playtester, you don't have much control over the situation. But anything that you hack might.
Good, you found a way inside that monster's head.
It turns out you can actually manipulate much of the game under the creator's noses. For example, I found a scrapped enemy type, ripped its propellers off, and then stuck them on a turtle. His name's Craig. Then I rode Craig out of bounds and found a secret message.
Naughty, naughty. You're not even supposed to be here yet, boss.
Yeah, this game's not easy to explain, but it does make sense when you learn the people who made it formerly worked on BioShock. What if all the missing features of a game were secretly still accessible? What if you could run around a broken demo Frankensteining things together to progress? There's so much heartbreaking symbolism for something planned but never accomplished. Not just the cancellation of a game, but the very stillbirth of a metaphorical and literal child. If you visit the origin point of the world, 000, legend has it.
This tree bears impossible fruit. Huh.
It's emulative of the work of Davey Wreden, that being the Stanley Parable and the Beginner's Guide. These premises accept themselves as a video game and explore how players interact with that knowledge, the illusion of choice, the intent of artists, and lastly, the interplay of promises. The Magic Circle is also like those games in that you'd have more fun playing it than hearing it described. That doesn't mean it'll blow your mind, but you might come out of it a little more sympathetic to the people making your favorite games. God only knows how often great things become diffused with mediocrity. Oh, thanks, Craig. I've been looking for these. I had more mechanics to talk about, but this feels like an organic stopping point. Too much self-awareness is exhausting, but too little of it can ruin your life. Find a middle ground. You really want to see the rest of these examples, huh? Okay, fine. Just a peek. Oh, that's the wrong page. How's that for meta? Oh, I said it. Just standing wondering how he dropping my options, I'm reduced to one. Justin's coming a key.